Welcome back to my video series where I teach you how to fly an FPV, freestyle, racing, acro, drone, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to teach you how to fly it. This video is one in a series. So if it feels like you've dropped in the middle of a conversation, that's why. There is a link in the video description below to the full playlist for the whole series. And if you're looking to learn from the beginning, that's where you should start. But if you're here for the topic of today's video, then let's get into it. In this lesson, I want to put together two of the things we did in the last lesson to do another cool acrobatic move. But these acrobatic moves aren't just for like impressing your friends and looking like a badass. They are continuing to challenge your ability to control where the quadcopter is and what it's doing. So even if you're not interested in being just like a freestyle rock star, I still think these moves are worth working. Like all of the really, really good cinematic pilots are also good freestyle pilots. Maybe not like the best freestyle pilots in the world, but they have a command of what their aircraft is doing. And the move that we're going to work in today's episode is to climb this wall and power loop off the top of it. So we're going to do a power loop just like we did in the last one. And the beginning of the move is going to be just like the sort of skid stop, if you want to call it that I did in the episode before that. But instead of coming in low and skidding to a stop, so we're going to manipulate our throttle. When we're trying to do a skid stop, we manipulate the throttle to not climb. And we might even just get right up against the wall. But you see, we're using the throttle to stay at the same altitude. Ooh, that was a good one. To stay at the same altitude. Tap the wall that time. This time what we're going to do is we're going to manipulate the throttle to climb as we pitch back and try and just skim this wall and bounce off. And we're going to come in and we're going to get as close as we can get. And what I really want you to do is try to manipulate the throttle and pitch to go up the wall. So one way to do it would be to just kind of like, yeah, I was nearby. I was in the neighborhood, right? Yeah, okay. Well, that's fine. That's fine. The closer you get to the wall, the better, right? But I want you to adjust the pitch axis as you get close to the wall so that instead of continuing to pitch back and coming back off the wall in a circle, I want you to try to extend that leg so you almost kind of go straight up and then back. And it's going to challenge you to adjust the shape of that circle dynamically. So instead of a circle, we're kind of making a stretchy oval. We're going to fly towards the wall, we're going to pitch back, and we're going to find a pitch angle and a thrust that makes us go straight up. So we don't want to pitch back too much because now we're pushing ourselves back away. We want to get pitched back just enough that we can go upward, up the wall. And then at the top, we continue to pitch back and we punch that throttle to push us back. And push back and loop. And you can actually just, if you start to get good at this, you can actually just do repeated loops. Come in and climb and punch back. And come in and climb and punch back. And come in, climb up and punch back. Come in low. Climb up and punch off. Okay. Now, let's challenge even more. So we're coming in and we're going up the wall. Now when we punch back, let's punch back and hold that inverted hang and try and get some backwards. So we're kind of squaring it off. We're going to stay inverted more. As I'm inverted, I need to get off the throttle so I'm not pulling myself down to the ground. See, I was kind of going up and over there. I wasn't going back. Let's try and get some back. Zoom. There we go. And we're going to adjust like where the pitch is and when we're hitting the throttle to try to fling us back further away from the building. Ooh, that was an even longer punch there as I came over the top to get me a little more back. Up and back. And over. So now we're extending this leg and we're extending this leg, kind of making it like a right angle almost, or a square, although that's a little exaggerated. Here's the next way I'm going to challenge you to level up your power loops, and it's going to be the final exercise in today's episode. This level is called Hall 26. You're inside a giant convention hall. And what we're going to do is we're going to power loop underneath the roof. So I'm going to come over to like the tallest part. I'm going to fly forward and I'm going to power loop underneath the roof. And in the same way that I approached the front of the building and I climbed up, I'm going to need to be modulating pitch and throttle. Except in this case, I am going to skim the roof. I can't just pop up to the sky indefinitely because there's a roof up there. So if I pop up too high, I will actually tap the roof. I didn't quite tap the roof, but that was pretty cool anyway. If I pop up too high, I will actually tap the roof. Boom. And if you're going to do that, you definitely want to make sure you're tapping it with the bottom of your quad at the very least. So that is something some people will do on purpose, is they'll do a little tap off the roof, but that would be something for another day. What we're going to do is we're going to fly towards the end of the building. We're going to pitch back and skim up, and then skim over and skim the roof. And I'm going to need to use my throttle to, in the same way that I pitch back and use my throttle to avoid tapping that wall, I'm going to need to use my throttle to avoid tapping the roof as I do the power loop to keep it underneath the level of the roof. And this is going to be sort of your final power loop exam, is to do power loops inside hole 26 or whatever this is. It's fairly challenging. You have to really have a grasp on your momentum, because if you're too slow going into it, you can't do this slowly. You'll just fall out of the sky. You need to have some speed going into it so that you have speed to carry yourself over the top. You always want to have just a little more speed pulling you out of the circle so that your props are sort of fighting it and pulling you in. And that balance will create the power loop. Think about as like you're spinning something on a string, and you need that rotational speed to pull it out at the same time as the string is pulling it in. Anything over here? It's just more of the same? Ooh, it's even lower down here. Oh, I see. What about over here? Is there anything? Oh, it's just more of the same. It's even lower. Oh, that's pretty low. Can we do this one? It's pretty low. That's barely a power loop. It's basically just a backflip, but we'll try and make it a power loop. Power loop. I like to skim the roof. There we go. That was fun. Okay. That's going to do it for today's exercise. I will see you in the next one. Hopefully, we'll try to pick something a little easier. This one's pretty hard.